Okay, guys, so here I'm going to summarize the comments on this diagram. And this diagram is a revised version of the one that's in the application. So the first thing he's saying here is he wants to, in the diagram you have this SMP number 1 shown over here was over there, and then they moved it out here. He wants to move it back over here, but the soils evidently here are somewhat saturated, and he wants this to be a sort of educational and gathering space. So I think this is a depression that drains out to this SMP number 2, which what he'd like to do is make this, beef this up, make this a little bit larger, and shift the entrance to the parking lot, which is currently, I think, over here somewhere, shifted over this way so that this SMP can get larger. Over here they're showing a cistern. I think it was like a 20,000 gallon cistern. I think he's sort of not so hip on putting that cistern there, and he might like to figure out a way to get this water over here and out there, and ultimately make this the bigger one that manages that water. Right in front, this is the front, so this is the building, this is the front entrance, and this is sort of like a lawn with some trees. He's willing to sacrifice those trees. This area here seems to be one of the areas that I think he's interested in making some sort of aesthetic improvements. He wants this to look nice, and I think if this can manage stormwater even better. He's happy with this over here. He wants this to look nice. So that when you see it through the fence, it looks very good. So the aesthetics of this is important. It was his suggestion to move this entrance, which was over here, over that way to make this larger. So he wants to stick with that. And then this bioswale back here, which wasn't shown in the original application, is sort of in between these two different lines of parking. He's concerned that in this corner of the building, right over here, inside, he's got some very large refrigerator and freezer units, and he's worried that at some point in the future he might have to access them. So he wants to be able to come in here with a truck, and he wants the truck to be able to sort of turn around and back in or something here. So he seems to want to cut this back to like somewhere over here and leave this sort of an open impervious area so that a truck could drive in and turn around and do what it has to do. He said something about these parking spaces. He wants them to be, one of the things he didn't like about the AKRF design is he didn't think they were smart about other things that could be done here. And he seems to have gotten some information that he could fit more parking in here if this was angled parking. And that's a general comment for sort of all of this. He wants us to be kind of smart and do more with less. So I think it's not just about managing stormwater. As I said in the email, it's about he wants to be compliant with the regs. He wants to he seems to have an environmental ethic, and he seems to want to do the right thing. He keeps saying that over and over again. He wants to maintain, the reason that Skip is farming this area and this area is because of his commitment to sort of community issues, obesity, food, healthy foods, that kind of stuff. He wants to build into here, the ability to do programming and educational stuff, interacting with Skip. But he's not so concerned about Skip being able to irrigate his fields with this stormwater because, as he puts it, Skip is a nonprofit and can use water for free from the city. So he's not worried about that, but especially the SMPs that are going in over here have to be integrated with his programming, which is very much educational, gathering, teaching about food, that kind of stuff. So it's compliance with the regs, it's aesthetic improvements, especially here and here. It's maintaining sort of future ability to modify his site, which is why I think he doesn't want this and why I think he wants to be able to get in here and access the freezers. And I guess that's it. Oh, and I guess he's also sort of thinking forward to when he wants to sell this property in the future, and wants it to have sort of maximum flexibility for another potential user of the property that's not maybe in the food industry. Bye-bye.